Hey everybody, Peyton Marine here, and I'd like you to stick around because I'm going to be talking about the Nova Open in this multi-part series. Hey everybody, Peyton Marine here. So let's dive into this, the Nova Open 2022. This is going to be a multi-part series. Got a lot of stuff I want to talk about and go over. Yeah, so I may from time to time while I'm going through this, take a little sip from my nice new koozie that I got. You can put any kind of beverage in here, so it's you don't get your hand warming up your beverage, so it stays quite refreshing. I've got a nice Pepsi in here, non-endorsed. Yeah, so I may take a drink from that from time to time, but again, no way sponsor or affiliated in any other way other than I bought their awesome product. And this is from Critical Hit Gaming Artisan. So you go to criticalhit.net. There's also indiestorm.net on here, and yeah, so they 3D print a lot of kind of cool little stuff like that. They also do engraving and stuff. There's a flask and stuff that they had that I put one up that I thought was kind of cool. It said my therapy is heresy. It has like the horse heresy eye on it. That was really cool. Very helpful, very nice people. And the other big thing for me is they are a United States distributor of Green Stuffed World, which is pretty big because their color shift paints. I love the Chameleon color shift paints, and I'm using them for my Alpha Legion project right now, and I don't have to wait as long for it to come from overseas. So if you're in the States and you like Green Stuff World, check them out. They can definitely get you what you need quicker. So, like I said, multi-part series. So we're going to start off first with kind of just the general stuff about Nova. Changes and stuff. It's back now after a 2-year, you call it hiatus, if you will, or lockdown or shutdown because of COVID. And I don't know, maybe a little bit of controversy around that as well. But yeah, so we'll talk about that, basic changes and stuff there. And already they're looking to improve stuff in the process because this is a learning curve of there was a 2-year break right after Mike Brandt, who was the original, I don't know what you call him, CEO or chairman or whatever, because it's a nonprofit thing, but he was the original president of it, has now shifted over because he works for Games Workshop now, and has since sold you sell charity foundations. I don't know how that whole works, but it has changed hands, and so it's under new management basically. And so while there's a lot changed, or there's a lot that's the same, there's a lot that's changed. And a lot of these changes, I don't know if they would have happened anyway, just because of the nature of the beast. But then also coming back after two years is kind of, I think, kind of a harder pass off than had it just been the next year. I know they were gearing up and getting ready for it, so they were still working together. But then to have to go 2 years in between, I guess it gives you a lot of time to maybe ask the questions that you don't know. But like I said, it just can make it harder to get back into the swing of things. But yeah, and then I'll have some other videos where I'm going to be going over the different events and things I participated in. No gaming, well, no miniature gaming, I guess. I'm doing some board game events. So there's that, and then a lot of classes. I say a lot, but a decent amount of classes. All have been very good in their different ways. I'm still quite proud of this. Weathered up Rhino. I'm not sure how good that's going to come across on this screen. I have some pictures up on the Facebook if you haven't, on my Instagram. But Dan Osborne, he's from Portland, came all the way out here and truly did an awesome job teaching this. Plus, he also put up the Warlord. It's a Warlord Titan, right? That's up for the charitable foundation, for people to buy raffles to get, which he did an amazing job on. And like I said, learned a ton of stuff on here. Definitely gonna be using this in a lot of future projects. I have one project already in mind, in particular when it comes to the Votann. That's gonna definitely evoke a lot of my new skills and stuff. So, yeah, let's talk about the Nova. So overall, it's still positive, right? There's still a lot of positive. It's really good to get back. It's kind of weird being in the position now where I'm not actually playing in an event. I'm also here by myself, which is different. First year I came to Nova, so I guess my tabletop gaming background was my first convention was Adepticon in 2016. Was that? I want to make sure I get my years right. Was it 20? It was 2016, and then yeah, and then I couldn't do 2017. But then I don't know. I'm kind of getting all my timelines all confused because I've only been to 2 Novas, and it was 2019 and 2018. Yeah. So I guess I had nothing 2017, which for some reason I thought I did, but I didn't. I guess I was moving from basically like middle of the country out to the coast. So it kind of makes sense anyway. But then it was looking like I probably wasn't going to make it potentially to the 2020 one. And then I would have definitely missed it in 2020. So that's not the 2021. The one in 2020, I potentially would have missed anyway because of work and stuff. And then in 2021, would have most certainly missed it because I was gone. So would have potentially missed those 2 years anyway. So, I mean, in a weird way, it kind of worked out for me as to like I didn't like miss out really on anything. But then coming back this year, so like I'm right back with everyone else. So it's kind of like I didn't really miss those 2 years like I could have had it still happened. So yeah, let's talk. I guess first we'll talk on the convention passes. So in the past, I think I got Supernovas, yeah, both times before. Was not able to get a Supernova or a Dwarf this time around. And just got a convention pass. And then I didn't have one because there was a period where I didn't even think I was going to be able to make it this year just because of cost and pricing. But, I really kind of tried to buckle down and sold a ton of like my backlog hobby stuff that I was never going to get to. And some stuff I had painted, and it was just sitting on the shelf really. And like while I don't want to like part with some of my near and dear painted models, at the end of the day, like it does kind of take up space and shelf space, and I mean it's collecting dust and it looks nice and I appreciate it, but when I'm the only one appreciating it, it kind of, I don't know. It's just one of the things. So I parted with some things that and I still have some other ones that are a little bit harder to part with, but. I'm still thinking I'll probably be parting with them before too long, just again because, this economy and everything is just not the best. Hopefully there's still a market because with everybody else having the same economy, they're not really going to have much disposable income to just buy somebody's model at the price they think it's worth. So, but yeah, with that, Supernovas and Dwarfs, in my opinion, so I guess they're good, and there's some good and bad with them. So the good being you do get a bunch of stuff, and if it's your first year going, I would almost say to try to get one. And the only reason why I say that is because, especially if you're kind of newer to the hobby as well, because they do come with a lot of like stuff in them that are pretty neat and things that you can try that you may have never had. A lot of times you'll get like a painting handle, different kind of brushes, little tokens and doodads and things like that. And you'll get like other models and stuff. And then with that, you may get a model or something from a game that you don't play. So kind of introduces you to something in that aspect as well. So in that aspect or that realm of everything, I think it's good. The bad, I guess, comes in when you talk about FOMO, fear of missing out, right? I think that's kind of always been a big selling point on those kind of things because they're definitely marketed as, you get a bunch of stuff, like nobody else would get this. You get other special perks, like um, was it like army bag check-in. There's like a little valet place where you can like take your army to. So if you want to hit up the food trucks and you have nobody watch your stuff, go check it in there, which is an awesome idea. But anybody can do that. But I think for Novas, it's kind of part of the deal. They don't have to pay for it. And then, like the things and stuff donated and put into it, it kind of, if you were to buy those all separately, mostly make up for the cost. And this year in particular, like I was looking at, and there's really nothing in there that I'm like, oh, I'm really sad I missed out on that. And even still with this, Supernova's got a Kill Team starter set, which is pretty awesome. That's the one thing out of that whole thing that I would be like, man, I wish I would have had that for that. But, after you get like one Supernova, every subsequent year after that, it's pretty much the same kind of stuff and trinkets and things in there, other than like usually the one big special item that they put in there. So really, that's the only thing I'm missing out on, and for the cost of a Supernova. And again, this is all for charity as well, so you got to think of it that way too. Is like, things may cost and you may not necessarily get back. Like all those things, those trinkets and things, like yeah, they may add up to what I paid for. They were donated or whatever, but may add up to what I paid for my Supernova. But really, like a large majority of like pretty much everything this year, except for a few other small items, which I'll talk about. But aside from like the starter team or the starter kill team, the rest of them would like not go in the trash, but like I don't need them. I would just push them aside, maybe hand them out to other people. I've done that before with when I sell things or do commissions or sell orders. I'll throw in some of the swag I've gotten from past Novas and stuff and throw them in there because I've got so much extra that a lot of it I just found I don't end up using. So there's that. I don't want to say it's junk. It's a lot of it's good stuff, and you get coupons and things like that for some of the vendors that are here. But like I said, it's not like stuff you need or you can live without. But again, I will say I do think for a first time goer, it's definitely I think a good deal to try to get a Supernova or a Dwarf. I think the first year I came, I got a Supernova, and my buddy that came with got a Dwarf. And really comparably, they were very similar. There was not a whole lot that wasn't in mine that was in his. And to point, like I can't remember what it was. He got some model in it that I would have much rather had gotten in mine. I don't remember if it was like an Underworlds kit. I don't remember what exactly it was, but like it was of the same game system or whatever. It's just he happened to get like a faction or a model that I was like, man, I wish that was in mine, or I wish I had some say, over my preference of what I wanted. But either way, yeah, so I guess that's kind of like, where I'll leave that for now. So are they good? Are they bad? Again, it's going to be user's choice. I personally, after getting one, I don't really see an issue or a point on getting any more, other than unless you just really want to spend the money because it donates to the charity, and hope that whatever that big ticket item that comes in that year is something you really like and want and a good deal. So that's that on the passes. So I keep saying so a lot. Let me take a drink here. Some of the changes that we're going to talk about next. So I've got like a little list here on my computer screen. Let's see. I mean, no particular order really. And again, there's one on here that I need to make sure to I'll hit on because they've already sent out a few emails since that and changed some things last night. So I'm making this video right now. It's Saturday, so I've been here since Wednesday. So Wednesday night was the Games Workshop preview, which I've already kind of made a video on my thoughts on that. And then day one, well, that was day one, Wednesday. Then I did some gaming. I say gaming, but board gaming on day two. Day three, yesterday, was a bunch of seminars. Pretty much that's all I did yesterday was seminars. And then today is Kill Team. And then I have another seminar later, as well as another board game learning tournament event they call a Learnament. And then my last day, I got another Learnament and a class. And then try to go to the Capital Palette Awards. My class goes over the same time as the awards. It would be nice to be there and like if I win something to get like video of them saying my name and stuff. But it's like I didn't realize that the class and stuff those were gonna overlap like they are, which is kind of frustrating because the class I'm taking was a paid class, so I'd hate to miss something I paid for to go sit for a chance of maybe hearing my name. Most likely not, because there's a ton of talented people here with models entered. But yeah, so I don't know. That's a little bit frustrating. All right, so first changes here I have is it doesn't seem as there's as many vendors, no KR case, and no indie games. So in the previous years, so the first year I'll say when I came here, KR case, they make the blue foam cases in kind of boxes and bags, and usually in the Supernova, you can get a pick of a KR case. So they do still support Nova and everything else. I don't remember where they're based out of. They're not. I think they're in the Midwest, and I think they have a pretty decent presence at Adepticon. But since my first year coming to Nova 2018, they didn't come the following year, and they didn't come this year. Obviously, the years in between are kind of, whatever. The lost years, I'm sure they'll be come to known in the future. But yeah, they have not returned. Now, I don't know if it's because of logistical, they didn't make as much as worth the cost of coming out, or what exactly, but it is a little bit unfortunate because having them here, you definitely saw, I think it kind of really helped both ways. Because a lot of people, I think they want to buy models, especially like, they have like the used models, already built models, or they have models in glue here. Maybe buy stuff and you want to start building right now. Maybe even painting to some degree, you can kind of get stuff started. But then you have no way of getting it home. Well, you can go to KR Case, buy some foam, a little box, and now you have a way to protect them on your way home. So they're that. I feel like they kind of help drive sales potentially. Like people are buying models and things and can now go buy a case for it, or they know that they have cases there, so they can kind of buy back and forth. Or also it's just the convenience of like, oh, I've got a bunch of stuff at home, I need to get in a case, let me buy them up. Because I do know right now personally, while I'm building my Alpha Legion, I have no battle foam available. That's all full of other stuff, and I have a few KR case stuff, but again, those are pretty full. I've got one tray right now I'm kind of using, but it would have been nice to be able to pick up some trays here, just for the ease of it, because I'm here, which I've talked about in some of my posts on Facebook, like how easy and dangerous it is having a Forge World Games Workshop booth here, especially because the Forge World on hand it's so easy just to go in, you just keep talking yourself out of it to then come right back around and you talk yourself into it. I mean, that's been my problem here, is like I keep going multiple trips instead of getting them all and just knowing everything at once. That's the worst way to shop. Same thing as like when you're hungry going grocery shopping. Like that's the dumbest thing. And I'm pretty hungry, so yeah, I've been messing that up because they have different tiers in the booth where if you spend so much, you can get these different things like whatever you get a free art print. And the highest, I think you get an actual like neoprene Games Workshop branded Warhammer battle mat that looks pretty cool. And I've definitely have spent that much to have been able to get one. And they don't just sell them; you have to spend that amount. But yeah, unfortunately, I've completely messed that up. And it has to be at a one-time buy. Yeah, so there's been a few other people that we've seen before here, and vendors. Like I said, so the KR Case one I think is a big kind of miss, but the other one is there's not been any indie games. A lot of times we, in the past, would see smaller indie games or people making their own miniatures or RPG or whatever, and they set up like a little table and kind of like walk people through, or kind of like, hey, check out our thing here. Here's our free rules. We have models you can get from My Mini Factory and download and print yourself. Just pay and print. And I don't know, it's because the bigger companies kind of swoop them away, or just again, it's kind of like this right now, right? Like my YouTube channel, right, is very small, but my presence on social media is, I think, okay, not huge, but pretty good. Like, think between Instagram and Facebook, and I'm sure there's some overlap, but I have about 5,000 people, give or take. So we'll say maybe conservatively, we'll say 3,000, right? We'll say 3,000 altogether. It's probably more than that, but anyway, about 3,000 followers, right? And I only have like, I don't know, less than 600 people subscribing on YouTube. And that's something else that I'll talk about later as a seminar I did, growing your audience and stuff like that, which, like I said, I'll talk about that in a later video. But I'm very much, especially being in the Warhammer hobby, a very small fish in a very large pond, or the ocean even, right? There's so many content creators. Everybody wants to have a YouTube channel and podcast or whatever and be huge and be the next big thing. And there's some people that hit that success, because they have that little niche, that little whatever it is about the hobby that they're able to find and share their voice and be unique from others. Now, I don't know, my voice right now and for my channel has just been essentially rants. I'll just talk about what I feel like, what I'm going through in the hobby and what I'm experiencing, and just sharing that with everybody else, as well as I do projects and things like that, and I discover new things, products, tips, and things like that, to also share that with everyone. Yeah, that's what I enjoy doing. So, to my point though, is these indie games are very much like that, right? There's Games Workshop, right? You have Fantasy Flight. You have these bigger game companies that are well established, well known, and these indie games are essentially trying to push back against that. So, Tabletop Minions, right? He's got some RPG games that he's putting out under the Game Badger Games or something like that. Which I'll be going to one of his seminars today. Which will be talking about that. It's with him and Vince, because they've made this Badger Games, or I think it was Badger Games, but yeah, and they just made a new game. I want to say it's called Space Station Zero, a new RPG, which basically is just a book of rules that you can either get the PDF or get a hard copy, and then if you get the hard copy, you also get access to the PDF. And you use your own models of whatever, your own terrain of whatever, and you go through it, right? So, like, there's really no buy-in other than the rules. And some of these other games, you had, both rules and models, but a lot of times the models were pretty easy to get into. They either were really cheap that they sold themselves, or, STLs that you go and purchase or have someone else 3D print. But, like I said, it's really hard and easy to get lost in the shuffle of all these bigger companies and bigger games. So it is a bit disappointing to see, or not see rather, so many indie games. Yeah, so that's kind of it on the vendor hall and the vendor stuff, right, and the people there. Overall, again, same people. Atlantis Comics and Games, which is actually from my current local area. They have two stores, I want to say, in my area. So they're not like huge, but they're pretty good, and they always make a pretty good presence. They're like kind of the main, other than Games Workshop, ones selling models, and they sell every brand. I'm kind of kicking myself because I didn't see they posted on the Nova Open, their Nova Open's Instagram posted yesterday. They're doing a 40% sale on Horus Heresy books, and I could have got my Trader Legion rule book for 40% off. I missed it. So I went down there today to try to see, well, maybe I can be like, listen, I didn't even see this post until like, it was like midnight last night, and so they were already closed up. But I just looked, and they didn't even have any more Trader rule books. They had some Loyalists, but no Trader rules, so I don't know. Missed out. So, yeah, pretty much again, like I said, the mainstays are there. The bits, I can't think of what they're called. They're like the ones that sell the used models. I do want to talk about that quick now that I'm talking about it. So they sell used bits, used models. There's like painted to varying different degrees and vehicles and stuff. But I don't remember if this was like this before. But just about everything, because my 6-year-old, he would ask me to pick him up a vehicle of some kind. Now, I did that vehicle weathering class, so I do have a Rhino I can give him. And he thinks it looks awesome and cool, and I'm really apprehensive because it turned out so well. I want to keep it and turn it into like a terrain piece, maybe make it into a diorama and put like, vines and things growing out of it. I don't know. But he's going to get it. I did say I would get him a vehicle. Now, the reason why I bring that up, though, is looking at the pricing on their stuff was heartbreaking, especially in the current state of the economy now. Now I get it. Everybody's hurting. So they may have, I don't remember if this is what their pricing was in years past, and they may have had to bring it up because of the way that everything's going right now, economy-wise, so they need to make their money too. But a Land Raider very poorly painted, or even a Rhino or Impulsor, like all these vehicles, like either built, no extra bits, and primed. Like that was Impulsor was in this specific example. It was like primed red with whatever. You can reprime it. No extra bits, built the way it was. It wasn't even put together the best, and the primer had like a gloss, kind of a sheen to it, almost like I'm probably not going to be stripping it. It was on kind of thick. But anyway, they still wanted it for almost full. It's $5 less than buying a brand new kit. And I just was taken aback by that. And it was like the same, like over and over again. I would look up prices on the Games Workshop, and I would look at that and be like, how are they charging, like I said, almost retail, barely anything off? I don't know. That was very shocking to me. And it wasn't like any of these were even, I mean, they have some tabletop quality paint jobs, but a lot of them are not the best shape. And to see that was very heartbreaking. So, because of that, like I said, I guess he's going to get my Rhino that I really weathered up and looked pretty cool. Yeah. So, moving on before this video gets too crazy long. So this is kind of one I guess I'll talk hand in hand. So they've moved a lot of stuff over into the other hotel. So you have the Courtyard Marriott, which is like, so I'm in the Hyatt, what's always been kind of the main building. And then you have the Courtyard Marriott right across the street, which a lot of people would stay in and then come over to do their events. And then kind of diagonal this way, you have the Renaissance. And the Renaissance is where they've moved a lot of events. And the Cantina, which is the only place, well, not the only place, but the place where you can buy alcohol and some food. There is a bar in here on the bottom floor as well, but that just strictly goes to the hotel. It's not attached to Nova at all, so none of the money there goes to the charities, as well as the food and stuff here. Like, you get like 10% or 20% discount here at the little breakfast place, which is pretty nice. But like I said, over at the Renaissance, they have some food items that you can actually. We'll bring that up because they just sent an email about the menu over there. But yeah, so you have the Cantina over there now, and Age of Sigmar has moved over there. Kill Team has also moved over there. Now there's some pros and cons there, obviously, because if with Kill Team moving, the big thing with that is a lot of people play Kill Team, also play 40K. So if you kind of have events like here and over there, it's not super far away, but it's not like super close. I mean, you do have to wait if the traffic is suddenly a little bit busier for whatever reason. You may have to wait. Yeah, so I don't remember having to pay for laser tag, but anyway, we'll talk about that in a second. There's an email they sent out. All right, back to the list though. All right, so all that's moved over. So what does that mean? I think it was really smart moving Age of Sigmar over there, not because it's Age of Sigmar. Ugh, who cares about that? But so Age of Sigmar used to be downstairs in the big hall where Horus Heresy's at right now. They still have X-Wing, Star Wars Legion. I think, I'm not sure if Marvel Crisis Protocol is there or not, but Horus Heresy, Star Wars Legion, and X-Wing are still in there. They've taken Age of Sigmar out of there and moved them to their hotel, which I think was a huge help to the elevator situation. The other thing being the Cantina is now the replacement for the Founders Lounge. Founders Lounge was ran by members of Mike Brandt's family, and I think when he turned over, before the pandemic and everything else, I think they were already planning on no longer doing the Founders Lounge, which is too bad because it's always a great fun time up there on the rooftop area here at the Hyatt. But like I said, I think it also, because people are going all the way up, so again, you don't have that as well to compete with for elevators. So the elevator situation has been really not bad at all. And it also might be, I don't know what attendance is like. It definitely doesn't seem as busy, but again, like I don't know if that's because the two kind of major events, 40K and Age of Sigmar, have been separated. And so that may have helped with the crowds and keeping elevators more free, which is huge. So that's a big plus. But like I said, attendance also might be down because I know there's a big controversial decision that was made that wasn't put out. And I guess it was always out there and it was always in their policy, I guess. But nobody kind of really paid any mind to it until they sent out a specific email addressing that you still need to wear a mask and show proof of vaccination upon being here. Which I know sent a lot of people, because they sent it after the deadline for refunds. Simple solution to me, to me, a simple solution is, okay, it would be like, we understand, we're sorry most people didn't realize that, we'll open up the refund for another week or so for anybody that decides they don't want to come anymore. The problem and obvious issue with that is now you're kind of playing with, you're losing money to the charities and everything, right? So there's that, right? There's that risk of that, but then if a ton of people suddenly, because they can't get refunds or because they can't, or whatever, because they can't come or whatever, and they can't get a refund, if they do get their refund, then that could also take money away from not just the charities, but there's other kind of things that do cost money here, right? Which could potentially mean that future years are going to have a smaller footprint because it's going to be harder for vendors and people to say yes when you weren't able to pay for what you said you needed last time. So there's a lot of risk in doing that. But at the same time, I also can see the frustration and people wanting to have known. But again, I can also see where, at the end of the day, it's like if it was truly always there, like I don't know because I didn't even read. Well, I just am like, yep, I agree. Like most of us do, terms and conditions. Yeah, sure, agree, but we don't actually read the thing. There's a whole South Park episode about that. But you kind of have to hold people accountable though at the same time. Like if you're gonna click yes and I agree to these terms and conditions, and you didn't read them, and it truly says it in there, and that's on you then, right? So if you don't hold people accountable, then you get into a society where it kind of feels like where we're slipping to now, where people can kind of just feel like they are entitled to something and deserve something for whatever. And I don't want to get like too crazy into that, but yeah, you can't have people that are unaccountable for things that they previously agreed to. So I get both sides of the argument, and it is definitely frustrating for those that wanted to come but couldn't anymore because they don't agree with vaccines or mask mandates or either or one or the other or both or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I totally agree that everybody has their own right to whatever they want to do. And at the same point, it is frustrating. I wasn't happy with it. Like not to say like obviously I'm here, right? So putting a mask on is low effort, right? That's nothing. Getting a vaccine is a huger choice, a bigger choice for an individual. Yeah, I don't know. All my views are my own. I just want to put that out there. They're not endorsed or anything of anybody that I'm ever affiliated with. But yeah, like I said, I'm obviously here, so I've obviously had to have gotten my vaccine. And honestly, like I will say, like it was a requirement of my job for me to get the vaccine. Had it not been a requirement, I can't honestly say whether or not I would have got it. I don't think I wouldn't have, but I also don't know if I would. I really don't know if I would have actually truly have that choice. And it's hard for me to kind of like take myself out. I'm like, okay, well, what if I didn't work at my job and I actually had a choice with, no repercussion of it? I don't know. For those that don't know, I work in a healthcare environment, so it's also been interesting because I know plenty of people that have got the vaccine and still very much gotten COVID. I mean, I've even had members of my household get COVID a couple times. Again, not everybody is vaccinated, but I because I'm around patients and things and stuff, I have not contracted it. I don't know what it is. There could be a combination of the vaccine. I try to live a healthy lifestyle, things like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just unfortunate, knock on wood, but I have definitely been around easily hundreds of people that I know are confirmed cases of COVID because we have to treat them in my job. And like I said, I don't know. Luckily, I haven't, contracted it. So for whatever reason. But anyway, that was kind of a weird rant to go off on. But basically, I understand the frustration, and it is unfortunate, and it's even kind of a little bit apparent in why I think attendance is probably down. There's probably I'm kind of curious, like how many people, how much attendance was down in general, if it was, because really right before COVID, Nova ended on a pretty big bang. It was the 10-year anniversary. It was 10 years. It was like their biggest year, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure 2019 was the 10-year anniversary. It was huge. It was big. Their biggest turnout yet. And then Mike turns it over, gets this job with GW, which, man, do they seem corporate. The preview event, which is watching them interact, Mike with the Warhammer staff and back, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just a little bit, they just seem so ingenuine in some of their interactions where they're kind of trying to like fake interest in stuff and people because they have a persona they have to kind of put on where they just almost are just kind of almost tired. Maybe I could be way off base, but it just seemed I just got that real corporate-y vibe from it. But anyway, I keep getting off on these tangents. So it would be interesting to see how big of a turnout, because we had the 2 years of COVID, like how many people were still not coming because of that or because of whatever is occurring. Plus with this economy, it's not like this is a cheap thing to come to. Even if you just bare bones come to do essentially what I'm bare bones right now. I'm in here hotel room. I brought some food. There is no microwave in the room, so that makes it kind of hard. There is one down kind of by the little restaurant they have here that I guess is open, but who wants to go all the way down there to microwave their food to bring it all the way up? Oh, gotta knock this a little bit. There's a mini fridge that doesn't get super cold, so there's a lot of things kind of working against you as far as trying to keep this trip cheaper. There's definitely a lot of things I'm definitely want to do differently from next year, as long as hopefully next year works. I'm planning on next year. Sounds like my buddy will be able to hopefully make it next year. We're trying to plan to go into some Horus Heresy gaming pretty heavily next year is the plan anyway. We'll see how that goes. I'm also, my job is moving me around, and as of right now, I may be even closer up this way. So that would be nice for me anyway, and make it a little bit more convenient. I would still say, like, if I am closer, I would probably still get a hotel room again, just for the convenience of, having a place here, late night gaming, stuff like that, not having to drive back and forth and all that. To each their own. But yeah, so bare bones though, it's still pretty expensive. Even if you don't spend anything at any of the vendors, you still have food. For the most part, I'm only going about 2 meals a day. I usually have like a meal that I have of stuff here that's like, sandwiches or cheese and crackers or whatever in my room, and then like one kind of meal out. And I still try to keep those cheap, but the DC area is not a cheap place to get food. Even the cheap food is not cheap, so that's been kind of frustrating. And with that, so the Founders Lounge, I don't remember if drinks were super expensive, but it was just a different atmosphere, right? And it just seemed different, I guess. And because his family was involved, they just seemed more genuine and more friendly and stuff like that. Now the cantina is over at the Renaissance. It is hotel staff that do your drinks. The drinks are not huge, not anything. I mean, they have beer and stuff like that. But the pricing for the food, the drinks, everything was insane. And it's still pretty expensive, but it was really expensive, which I want to talk about. So they just put out an email. So yesterday, they changed pricing for a period from like 6 to midnight or something. They extended the food hours, so you get food until midnight over there, and they pretty much called it happy hour. So food and drink prices were slashed, and they said they saw a bigger outcome, a better outcome, and so they're going to make it kind of like a permanent change, and so they put out an email of the new pricing. So the only way to get the food or drinks there is you have to buy Cantina credits. It's these tickets that you have to purchase. Each ticket is $2. So for $20, you get 10 tickets. Right. So it was for a mixed drink of any kind, when it's all well liquors, was 5 tickets. So $10 for like 8 ounces maybe. Yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah, it's about maybe 8 ounces, $10. And a beer was 4 tickets, so $8 a beer. So those are pretty, I mean, I think that's pretty average price probably for a beer and maybe a mixed drink. If you go to like an actual like bar or club out in the city, I guess. But yeah, then you look at like hot dogs, I want to say there were 5 tickets. Pretty sure it was 5 tickets. So $10 hot dog. Well, I don't know what kind of hot dog that is, but that was, yeah. And then they like similar thing. They had like chicken tenders on there. Like those were probably like $5 as well. Fries were 4 tickets. That blew my mind. $8 for fries. I was like, oh, okay, this is just too much. Like the food trucks, they have food trucks out here as well. They only stay till a certain time. And usually, after they leave is usually I think when most people are going over there to get food at the cantina. Plus, if they start having drinks, what happens? Oh, I want something to eat with it. Yeah, and then with it being hotel staff, it just doesn't seem as like that whole family friendly environment of just we're a big wargaming community just coming together. It's just again I just don't like that vibe. It's just not a good vibe. And it's a huge space where they have this kind of drink food area. So everything's kind of really spread out, which I guess is good if you're still worried about like the COVID environment kind of stuff. You can spread out fairly well. But again, like I said, it just kind of like, it just doesn't seem as community centric as I would like it to. Now they do have like live music in another room as well, and they were giving off raffles each night. They like the first night I actually went over there and tried to get a raffle ticket for the chance of potentially winning a Supernova because I really wouldn't mind getting that starter kill team set. But that is probably the biggest change that I don't like. I do like, so like they put out this email, which I'll go over, that they're still adjusting the prices. They went down. Still, some of it's kind of like, ugh. But, like bagels, donuts, muffins are 2 tickets, so $4. A fruit cup, though, is 3 tickets, like $6. I don't know what kind of fruit is there. I don't know if they really cost that much. A yogurt is 2 tickets. Again, I don't know how big this yogurt is, though. Like, is it just like a little tiny serving? Wraps are 2 tickets. So a wrap, I'm assuming it's just like a tortilla with like lunch meat in it for $4. But a fruit cup is $6. I guess because it's fruit. I guess fruit is getting more expensive nowadays. It's really hard to really kind of judge and understand some of the pricing here because I do know some of these proceeds also go to charity. So you're always paying that premium for charity, which is good. And then you have the problem of the economy, right? Like the economy is just sucks. So everything's getting more expensive with inflation and everything else. So again, we have hot dogs, corn dogs are 3 tickets, so $6 now. Pizza was another one that was like I think it was like $10 for a personal pizza. It's now $8, so it's a little bit cheaper. So still using the cantina ticket, still $2 a ticket, and everything there. So the other thing though that's mentioned in here is like food prices slashed, credits now usable for laser tag, which I don't remember paying to be in Kill Team to do that. I don't remember paying for that. I thought it was just a free event. You just had to, if there was an open spot, sign up for it, which I'll probably look into later. But I don't know. So yeah, all right. Well, let's talk about the final thing in this video, and then the other videos I'll talk about the seminars that I've gone to, as some of the gaming events I've gone to. And then Capital Palette will probably be its own thing because I've got the same issues I've had kind of in the past with that. I'll discuss more, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. But the last thing I want to talk about is volunteering. So I don't know how much they need volunteers or not. They definitely put it out a lot, and I came here with all intents and purposes to help volunteer, and it was kind of disheartening and kind of sad. Like I was very much wanting to volunteer, not just like I wanted to volunteer a ton, and I was I contacted, and the back and forth emails, I know they're busy, and as it was getting closer it seemed like I kept having to like hit them up because they would like I'd hear something and then nothing, and then I would hit them up again like, hey, I'm just letting you know I'm still here, do you still need help? I'm like, oh yes, we're sorry, blah blah blah. And finally, they're like, okay, we want you to be part of the part-time ops team. When you get here, check in with, so-and-so in this area. So I'm like, cool, all right. And then basically the part-time ops team, you just go, there's supposedly a sign-up sheet. If you sign up for hours, they want people like on staff, on call, basically between these hours, these like, it was like 7 to 8 or 9 or I don't know. But they want people on call for these times to basically be like, hey, we need people to come move tables or put this stuff away or do this or that. And then you just sign up for whatever hours you can work. So cool, sounds good. Go there, go try to find the person. They're gone. They got COVID. They're not going to be here. I'm like, well, that's just unfortunate. And that was another thing that was kind of frustrating is when that happened, there wasn't like an email that went out. You would think maybe everyone that was supposed to meet with him, like either that individual put like, hey, everyone, sorry, I'm not going to be able to. Here's the contact of who can. So anyway, finally found out who took over for him. Go find him. Well, then I started getting bounced around because no one knows where. I'm like, oh, we'll go here, go there, go there, go there. To eventually where like it seemed like everyone was going. Everyone was kind of like, well, they would ask somebody else, well, he wants to volunteer. Do you have anything for him to do? And they're like, no, not really, not right now. And then they would like run off. And it always seemed like they were really busy doing something that they could have maybe needed help with. I don't know, maybe not. But so unfortunately, I wanted to get at least 10 to 12 hours of volunteer time while I was here. That was like what I was like looking at my schedule, and I was like, okay, mornings I have a lot of decent time. I could get 2 to 3 hours in the morning easily, help out each day. But yeah, like I said, unfortunately, the volunteering thing just fell completely flat. I just stopped after the second day of the same thing. I was like, I guess they just have way too many volunteers. I don't want to say like don't volunteer, don't try to reach out and help. And I guess I reached out early too. Like this isn't like I didn't just show up and want to volunteer, or just recently, like I don't know, months ago, I've been contacting and talking with them about this. So, but like I said, I guess apparently at least this year, they've had plenty of volunteers where they didn't need anyone else because they weren't too concerned about finding a spot or figuring out how to plug me in with everyone else. So I don't know. It is what it is. It's unfortunate, I guess, but if they got everything covered, they have everything covered. Just would have been nice if they're like, hey, really appreciate it. We have more volunteer staff than we know what to do with. So again, appreciate it. If we need anything, we'll put it out. But as of right now, we don't need anything. So cool, whatever. But yeah, that's it. So this is almost an hour. So hopefully you gotten some good info on this. If you went to Nova, if you're here too, let me know what are your thoughts. What are your thoughts on some of the things I hit on, the changes? What do you think is good, bad, indifferent, whatever? And let me know in the comments below, for sure. Yeah, and hopefully again, like I say, if you're listening, you got some good insights here. Maybe got some painting and building done while you were listening, and stay tuned for the next part of the series, which I'll be probably going to break this down into days. So instead of just doing like all my seminars and all my gaming, I'll do what I did on the next day. So my next one I'll be going over then. I'll actually combine days 2 and 3 because I only did one thing on day 2. So I'm going to combine day 2 and 3. So I did a learnament on how to play Root, and then 3 seminars. So Games Workshop seminar, which not a lot, but not a lot of great things to say about that one. That one, it's very frustrating, I'll just say that. So that's a little teaser for you. So the Games Workshop one on how to paint power weapons, the Dan Osborne vehicle weathering, which I cannot stop saying enough positive things about that class, and Dan as a person, as a teacher, really knocked it out of the park. Like, I've had no interactions or anything with him before, and I'm really glad to have met him. And like I said, his class, everything was great. And yeah, I'll dive more into that. And then a Craig Shipman, who does the Third Floor War podcast. I'm pretty sure that's his website. I can't remember what his podcast is called. Something different, maybe. I want to say it's called like Tabletop something. But he talks about his was the growing your podcast audience, things like that. It was very interesting. He's from Raleigh, North Carolina, where I used to live for a while and love that area. He was very much into the RPG realm of things, but a lot of the stuff that he had to share and talk about, that was very good info. So I'll talk more in depth on those in the next video. The following video after that, I will. I might do a separate video just for Kill Team Live. I don't know, it won't be that super long, but these videos don't need to always be really long. I'm sure some people would appreciate it if it wasn't. And with Kill Team, I think a lot of people want to hear about Kill Team. So I'll probably just do a separate one on the Kill Team laser tag, which is pretty awesome. And then I'll probably blend, so I have that, and then I have seminar tonight with Adam and, oh goodness, Vincent Ventrilli, I think is how you say it. I don't know, but they're with them tonight, and then another Learnament tonight, and then another Learnament tomorrow, and another Games Workshop class. I'm really not sure about that class though, because I did not have a great experience the first one. I don't know who's teaching that one, and it also overlaps with the awards, which I may not win anything anyway. So it's kind of like I paid for it. Do I go? Do I not go? I don't know. So, all right. All that being said, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed everything. Again, let me know any of your thoughts, opinions, and such in the comments below. And like, subscribe, check out my Facebook, Instagram, everything in the description. And until next time.